It was a stormy autumn evening in the quiet town of Willow Creek. Most people had already retreated to the warmth of their homes, the streets nearly empty except for the occasional passing car and the sound of wind whistling through the trees. Inside the local fire station, Coda, a retired K-9 German Shepherd, lay quietly beside his handler, Officer Ryan Carter. Though officially retired from active duty, Coda had become somewhat of a legend in the department, loyal, sharp, and seemingly guided by something beyond instinct. Ryan often joked that Coda didn't just follow commands, he felt them in his bones. That evening, as Ryan sipped his coffee and read over reports, Coda suddenly perked up. His ears twitched, his eyes sharpened. A sound, faint, distant, almost drowned by the rain. Then it came again, a scream, low, terrified and urgent. Before Ryan could react, Coda was on his feet, barking with force, running to the door. Ryan followed instinctively, heart beginning to pound. The scream had come from the old Miller residence, a worn-down farmhouse on the edge of town, long thought abandoned by most. The property was overgrown, the house barely visible through twisted trees and tall grass. Rumor said an old woman still lived there, though few had seen her in years. When they arrived, flames were already licking up the side of the house. Smoke billowed from the windows, and the air crackled with danger. Ryan shouted into his radio, calling for backup, but Coda didn't wait. He bolted straight into the house. Inside, the heat was unbearable. The fire had started in the kitchen and was now climbing the wooden walls, devouring everything in its path. Coda, low to the ground and guided by instinct, moved swiftly. He heard the faint cries again, this time clearer. A child. He pushed open a half-burned door with his nose and found her, a little girl, no older than 7, curled under a bed, coughing violently. Her blonde hair was matted with soot, her eyes wide with fear. Coda barked to alert Ryan, then carefully crawled in and nudged her with his snout. The girl, too weak to move, reached for him. Coda gently grabbed the collar of her jacket with his teeth and began to pull her free. By the time Ryan entered the room, guided by the sound of barking and coughing, Coda had already pulled her halfway out. Ryan scooped her up, and the three of them fled to the crumbling hallway just before a beam collapsed behind them. Outside, paramedics rushed in. The girl, whose name was Emily, was placed on oxygen, wrapped in blankets, and taken to the hospital. Ryan praised Coda, hugging him tightly. The old dog had done it again. But the story was far from over. 3 days later, Ryan visited the hospital to check on Emily. Her condition had improved significantly, and she was awake, eating ice cream, her small arm in a sling. Her eyes lit up when she saw Ryan, but even more when she saw Coda, who patted him beside him, tail wagging. "He saved me," she whispered, gently stroking his fur. "I saw him in my dream the night before." Ryan blinked. "What do you mean?" "I dreamt of a dog with kind eyes who told me not to be scared. He said help was coming." Ryan exchanged a glance with the nurse. Maybe it was a trauma, maybe a child's imagination. But something about her tone, so certain, so calm, stayed with him. Emily had no parents. She had been living with her grandmother, a recluse who didn't survive the fire. The town came together to care for Emily, and a foster home was arranged, but she begged to see Coda again. She clung to him like a lifeline. Ryan agreed to bring him by regularly. Over time, Coda began acting differently. He would sit outside Emily's room long after visiting hours, staring at the wall as if listening. He would bark at shadows. He avoided certain corners of the hospital. And one day, during a walk through Emily's new foster neighborhood, he froze in front of a particular house and growled, low and deep. It belonged to Mr. Granger, the town's oldest mailman, known for his grumpy demeanor but seemingly harmless. Still, Coda wouldn't budge. He growled every time they passed. Ryan began to wonder, was it just Coda's old instincts? Or something else? That night, Ryan sat down with the old records, ones from Coda's active years. He flipped through old cases, rescue missions, fire reports. Then he found something chilling. 7 years ago, Coda had responded to a domestic disturbance at that same house, Mr. Granger's house. The complaint was dismissed. No arrests, but the file was incomplete. Scribbled at the bottom was a note. Child's voice heard. No child found. Search inconclusive. Ryan's heart skipped. Could there be a connection? The next morning, Emily told Ryan something startling. I remember Mr. Granger. He used to visit Grandma. He said he was helping, but I didn't like him. He always looked at me strange. Ryan's got twisted. He started an investigation. Off the books. What he discovered was enough to reopen an old case. Mr. Granger had once been listed as a foster carer. For a short period, years ago, multiple children had come and gone under his care. One child, a girl named Annabelle, had vanished. Her case was buried, marked as a runaway. No follow-up, no closure. When police raided the old basement of Mr. Granger's house, they found evidence, toys, clothes, and most damning, a hidden diary, written in a child's shaky handwriting. It was Annabelle's. She had never run away. She had died in that house. The town was shaken to its core. Mr. Granger was arrested. Justice, long delayed, was finally served. But the mystery deepened. Emily began having dreams again of a girl with soft eyes and a gentle voice. She says, "Thank you," Emily told Ryan. She said Coda helped her rest. Ryan didn't know what to believe. He was a man of logic, of facts and procedure. But even he couldn't deny that Coda had led them to a truth buried in silence for years. It wasn't just a rescue anymore. It was redemption. Months passed. Emily was officially adopted, not by just anyone, but by Ryan himself. It was Coda who brought them together, and in time, they became a true family. The once retired K9 now had a permanent home, a little girl who adored him, and a purpose once more. But there was one final twist. One day, while cleaning out the remains of the Miller farmhouse, Emily's old home, workers discovered a box beneath the floorboards. Inside were photos, letters, and documents. Among them, a birth certificate, and a sealed envelope addressed to Emily, written by her mother, long deceased. It revealed a secret. Emily had been adopted as a baby. Her birth mother, Annabelle's older sister, her grandmother, the recluse, had taken Emily to protect her from a system that had failed them once before. The lives of these two girls, Annabelle and Emily, were more than connected by fate. They were bound by blood. And Coda, somehow, through instinct or something more mysterious, had been the bridge between past and present, between justice and healing. He wasn't just a hero. He was a guardian of a truth that had waited years to be uncovered. Emily hugged him tightly that evening, tears in her eyes. "You didn't just save me," she whispered. "You saved her, too." And Coda, resting his head gently in her lap, let out a soft sigh. His mission was complete, but his love, that would last forever.